I'd like to welcome everyone to the conversation where we talk about everything Cowboys. My favorite team, your favorite team, America's team. Here with your host, Coach Marv.
What's going on, Cowboy Nation? What's going on, Cowboy Nation? Just came in to step in here to talk to you for a few minutes. Trying to test out some new equipment, man, to see if my show runs a little smoother and I don't have as many, if I'm be able to share some screens and be able to get some content with sharing stuff for you again. I tried it before, so I got a little small upgrade with my computer, but it's just crazy, man. This is financially, this thing is this podcast thing and show thing is costs you a lot, but it's very rewarding, man. We're getting close to a regular season starting. We're going into the last preseason game on tomorrow night. Y'all come in and watch us on Boss Cowboy Sports, Amp Sports, Henny Namora, Lou Takes, as well as me, Coach Marv Real Talk. All that's going to be in, and maybe some more people to the watch party that we're just trying to get through this last preseason game and see if we can see some other guys and have a good time like we did last week. Last week, we hadn't got to the regular season, but I hang with a bunch of guys that are very, very close. They're doing a great work down. A lot of those guys are doing great work at Frisco this week. As the Cowboys got back into Frisco for training camp, those guys are doing an outstanding job down there. And I just want to make sure that, hey, I say this. We all Cowboy fans, and I know sometimes we get we have a difference in opinion. Sometimes people don't take the difference in opinion the correct way. And a lot of things sometimes are said on, I think we get into the point where we start saying a lot of things on these shows that are inflammatory against certain people directly and personally. Let's try not to do that, my people. That's not personal battles and maybe getting ourselves in trouble in other areas is not gonna help the Cowboys win. It's not gonna make the Cowboys win or make the Cowboys lose. So we just have to be very careful about how we go about doing things. My title for this one is, and I got two things. I want to talk about where we at on our culture bill, because that is still important. I see some signs of the cultural bill being even put in place now that we are doing a great job of keeping that cultural bill thing going steady. But another thing that I wanted to talk about is Mazi Smith. There's been some reports out there, and I want to share you. Let me share. Here we go with the sharing part. All right. Let me share you my X post. And I'm sure sharing that on the screen now. This is my X post. Coach Marv, if y'all want to follow me, Coach Marv at 1914. But this is my X post that I put out there when I heard about there was some question about him, and I'm sorry for doing that. Let me clear that off. I'm trying to get that little piece of uh, that's in the way there. That's hurting my thing. Anyway, let me read what I said. What I said. I heard some questions when we were talking about. They were talking about Mazi being cut, and I said, "Do you really think Mazi really care about being cut?" Right? And I think this young man has. And when I said this because I don't think Cowboy Nation understands when it seems like the whole entire uh, community is putting the whole run defense on Mazi Smith back and the one tech back. I hear people talking over and over and over again about one tech. And I mentioned this and I said, really, do you think about it? Mazi probably feel like he just can't go out there and do his job at one tech. With the job of one tech, maybe he might get 50 tackles in a year out of 17 games. So there might be some games that they don't get tackles. And this is a prime example of bullying. The media has jumped on some of our content creators, some of our people have jumped on, and they have jumped on just the idea of doing videos just on Mazi by itself. And I'm not saying that they are doing it to try to be critical. Some are saying they're trying to do videos to say, we trying to defend that this is crazy. Some is trying to do videos to try to go back at the people who saying that this is crazy. But imagine every play that you play as a one tech being scrutinized, where it starts to seem like the total defense, run defense, is all on Mazi. And just imagine of you being a young player and this is what you're seeing. Where everything is all on you, Mazi. You have a young player that came into this league, and again, we throw the pressure of being the first round draft pick, but again, that's our fans, our culture, man. Sometimes I don't even know if our fan culture is built to know what a team needs to build to get a championship, and understand that it's not the snap of the fingers and you just gonna win every game. Not the fact that if you come in as a first round draft pick, you got to be all pros. Don't you know out of the first round draft picks, probably only 10 every year get their 5th year option picked up? The majority, it may be half, but half of them don't even get a 5th year option picked up. Do you know Jordan Davis, that everybody loved from coming out of Georgia, the big Jordan Davis? Do you know the Philadelphia Eagles didn't pick up his 5th year option last year? No, he won't be in Philadelphia after this year. Because when a team don't pick up your 5th year option, you become a free agent. And they got to pay you more money than they probably have to pay you if they'll pick up your option. But imagine what Mazi's going through when you got people doing videos on you. multiple people doing videos, and they're scrutinizing every single snap. Regardless if you're going against second string, first string, whatever. You're going against NFL players. If you're in a training camp, you're an NFL player. I don't think we think that just since we play for the Cowboys and it's our player, we're supposed to win every rep. The great Aaron Donald don't win every rep. The great Aaron Donald gets blocked. But we got this. So imagine a young man that came in, and as I told you before, if you want to know the progress of a player, I always tell you, go back to their college days. See how they progress from being a freshman in college and how did their plight comes, how did they grow when they was in college to get them drafted. Then you'll probably see how their growth pattern is when they come to the pros. Mazi came into Michigan and he had some growing to do. Physically, strength-wise, and conditioning-wise. He worked, he got better every year to a point that he became a first-round draft pick. His first year, he comes in, he's playing with a bum. He hurts his shoulder during the year. Coming in to being a first-round draft pick, into the Cowboys system, man, you already, it's not like when you get drafted the first round, being the first-round draft pick for the Atlanta Falcons or any other team. You're put on a stage that everybody's where you're supposed to be an all-star right off the bat. Because you're a first-round draft pick. Hell, we expect guys to get drafted like Deuce. We expect guys like Deuce that got drafted in the 6th, 7th round that he's supposed to be, when he don't go out and do something, we expect him that he's supposed to be a first-string running back. The media, when we talk about cutting guys that were 6th-round draft picks, they talk about a draft pick for the Cowboys, maybe on the bubble. What? It's almost that Nate Newton says this. Getting drafted by the Cowboys is a curse, is a blessing and a curse at the same time. It's a blessing because you are in a great organization and you're on the stage. But it's a curse because the expectations are way more than what you can ever expect. We got people doing films to challenge people talking about Mazi, and then people doing films back to challenge the people who did films. Imagine this, man, if you were a player at a one tech where, and now you get, when people interview you, you got to go out there and say, I got to make something happen. Do you understand that one text might make a big play once in every blue moon, that their job that they do is a sacrifice type job? So Mazi can leave the game. The coach can say, great job. But the media, and I couldn't, oh, he didn't do that. The first thing they start reading off his stat line. Then the young man gets interviewed, and then he starts saying, what really concerned me when we did the show with me and Stargazing, when Stargazing put the show together and me and Lou Takes was on there and she played it, it really concerned me when he started saying exactly what people were saying. I ain't do nothing. I got to make some plays. I don't think I did nothing. Know what that told me about the player? The player has checked out. And we can talk about pressure. Oh, he can't stand pressure. No. Unwanted pressure, unnecessary pressure will make anybody break. And just what this is. We're watching every play. We got 5 or 6 content people out there watching every play that a guy plays at a one tech position where he's just a small part of the run defense. Now, let me just give you some coaching things when you talk about defense and run defense. If you go into and you got a team and you think that the one tech is your end all and be all to stop a run game, you are sad and you are going to get run on like X-Lax running through somebody. I don't tell you how many times I'm going to tell you this. It takes 11 dedicated, committed guys to stop a run game. And listen, I'm not harping on nobody who's doing film. No. Because see, a lot of these guys out here waiting to shoot bullets at you talking about, oh, what coach talking about? What he talking about my film? No. I'm just telling you what we're doing to the player when we're scrutinizing every single play and we're putting the whole blame of the run defense on one position, and then we're moving that to Mazi Smith. And the expectations we giving him is way more than we give everybody else. We could get a guy to bring in here, a veteran guy that'll do exactly what Mazi doing. He may get one more flash play, but he's still gonna get blocked. I tell you like this: you brought in the old guy in here last year. He had a couple of splash plays, but there was a lot of plays. And I'll tell you about it. Let's go back to the film and watch. There was a lot of plays that veteran guy got mauled. And he couldn't chase the ball down like Mazi could. But this is what we doing. So when I put that post out there saying, do you think Mazi cares? I wasn't saying do Mazi don't care because I don't think Mazi's got the capability of caring. Mazi has checked out. Any player would checked out. This is why I say this. Dak Prescott should have got $80 million a year. Why? Because no other quarterback take the shit that Dak Prescott take where people scrutinize every single play that he does. That's worth $20 more million. And I guarantee you Dak agent said that. In little or no words. He take more trash than any other quarterback. He deserved to get paid that. Because he don't blink an eye when you scrutinizing every pass. It was last year, I think a couple years, we got, and I'm not talking about the content creators, but look how crazy this is that we got to defend a player in the greatest team sport, and we got to watch every single play to defend one guy. And in that same play that we doing, when we run it every play, there's 4 or 5 other people that are blowing assignments, and we glassing right over that. I can guarantee you, when a defensive coordinator goes in and they start watching run game film, they watch every single guy on the defense and make sure everybody does what he's supposed to do. Because you are always taught, if one guy gets blocked, we got to protect our brother. Because he's going to protect you next time. But when you come to the sideline and you look me as a defensive coordinator in the face and you start talking about one guy, I'm running all y'all asses. Because one guy ain't make a play. All y'all was a part of that. Imagine what a Mazi is going through. So when he started using these canned answers about I ain't do nothing, I felt this. I said this on the show. I'm saying I'm worried about the psyche of this young man. They said he had some, the psyche had gotten to him. I was worried about it. And he clocked out. He done checked out. And if the Cowboys are really thinking about cutting him, it ain't because of this film. In that room, in that locker room, and on that field, they know he done checked out. Because he feel like he in a no-win situation. Everybody else get judged on a splash play. And they consider, oh, they great. But Mazi, you watch every play. If the defense don't do well against the run, the first person they're going to come and look at Mazi. He in a no-win situation. And you don't think he know that? And we think he going to rise above that. Let me give you a word. There ain't many guys that's getting scrutinized like this in no-win situations that can rise above that. And he's not Hall of Fame he's not a Hall of Fame player. I was trying to expect if we had a guy that was Hall of Fame, but listen. Only thing we asked him to be a part of the unit and to do his job, not be a star. Russell Maryland came to the Dallas Cowboys as the first pick in the draft out of Miami. The first pick. And guess what Russell Maryland was his whole career at Dallas? A part of the defense. He had a role, and that's it. Did he ever make a Pro Bowl? Probably not. If he talk about being a Hall of Famer, hell no. Did he make a player here and there? Yes. Did he do his role with him, Tony Casillas, Leon Lett, Jimmy Jones? Those are the guys that played defensive tackle. Did he do his job? Yes. But if this was the media now, and we was analyzing every play that Russell Maryland did, he'd probably been broke. A one tech. Well, most times they gonna sacrifice themselves. The most one techs get tackles, and maybe let's say they get 60 tackles in a year. That's a lot. That's a whole lot. Hell, Michael Parsons didn't give him 68 tackles in a whole year. So the one tech might get 25, 30, 40 in 17 games. So that's some games he don't get no tackles. But the young man is probably checked out. And for him, He don't want to pick on no fifth-year option. This young man knows that real football people going to turn on his tape and going to say, hey, he got potential to do what we need to do. He may not be no superstar. He could probably be a little bit better, but he could probably do a serviceable job in doing his role. And he probably get better if he get in an environment there ain't nobody watching him every second and saying, oh, man, yeah, 41 tackles. And guess what, church? That's on the high end of one text. $41, he say 151. They not listen. They ain't getting over 50, 60. And he getting 41 because, one, his hustle of chasing the ball down. That's a positive for him. But guess what? We don't look at that. We act like he ain't doing nothing. And then we got people defending. And I'm saying, I'm not getting on people, but this scrutiny, and I go back to my post. Do you think this kid really care? No, man. This kid, this here. First thing we said, when anytime somebody talk about defensive lineman, and me and Law was out. I said this on Law Show one day, because I think we were talking, this was a couple of years ago, we were talking about defensive lineman. And every time they were talking about a free agent guy, the first thing everybody say, when you talk about defensive line and a linebacker, the first thing that people like to read off, how many sacks they got. Before we read our tackles, we talk about sacks. Let me give y'all a note. The highest sack total in a year probably should be Harvey Martin and Deacon Jones, but they wouldn't even count them then. But both of them have about 25, 26, 27 sacks. But anyway, got to get 22 sacks, 23 sacks in a year. That's the most sacks in the season, right? Everybody, woo! Don't you know he rushed the quarterback on pass plays by over 600 times during that year? To get 23 sacks. Let's say he got another 100 pressures. 23 sacks and 100 pressures. 100 pressures is a lot of pressures. That's 123 sacks and pressures for 600 pass rushes. So tell me, y'all, Birmingham, Alabama. I hear you, brother. Yes, sir. Let's tell me, y'all tell me, is that a whole lot? And I'm not saying sacks and pressures don't mean that. Well, we talk about that before we even talk about tackles. And tackle for losses. Getting the guy on the ground. Now I'm about to make some people mad. That's what I'm concerned about with Michael Parsons. I said Michael Parsons could be generational. I have been the first person to put out there 2 years ago that Michael Parsons could be the first 130 tackles, 17 and a half sacks, 3 interception guy in the history of the NFL that does that in one season. There is no other defensive player that had that. Now, you may have sacks, but when you put them all together, a guy that had 120 tackles, sacks, 20 sacks, ain't had no 130 tackles. And then they had no three and a half interceptions. I said Michael Parsons could be that guy. If Bobby Wagner 2 years ago at age 32, when he was with the Rams, can have 132 tackles, I think, 3 interceptions, and 6.5 sacks. You don't think Michael Parsons can't get that at his age and speed? Now you got a guy that's going to average you about 10 tackles a game, and a guy that's going to average you a sack a game, and a guy that's going to average you less 0.3 interceptions a game. He affects the game in all areas, and it's impossible to keep him out of affecting the game. But if you just a pass rusher, if I'm running short game and run the ball most of the time, or quick passes, or double teaming you, how can you affect the game? Mazi, we're just asking him to be a better part of the team. And we're asking the run defense to get better as a whole. But you know why we ain't got players on this team stepping up for Mazi? And I say I wasn't going to be messy. You know why we ain't got players stepping up for Mazi and saying, hey, man, get off Mazi case? Because they don't want the camera to turn on them and say, what you doing? See, this team has had a problem with hiding behind the curtain, allowing us to pick a guy out and for us to jump on one guy and throw all the blame on one guy and even throw the blame on the Jerry Jones and everything else. And they hide. Because they say, well, if I don't do my job, they ain't going to worry about this. They'll say so and so. And we don't understand, to get to this number 6, it's going to take all of us. It's going to take every last person on that team to do their part, the sum of the parts. So, yeah, I think this young man is checked out. For the young man's, first, I was a Cowboy fan, but one thing I am, I'm a former coach, and I love these young men, these kids, these young men who play football. And I want the best for them. And the best thing for Mazi right now is to get the hell out of Dallas. Because I think he got some good football. Is he going to be a Pro Bowler? Is he going to be a Hall of Famer? No. But I think he could be a better version of him because he's maturing the same way he matured in college. But this scrutiny here, he's never going to get over it. And the Joneses are going to just use the scrutiny he getting it so they can go on the 5th-year option so they can lowball him on his next contract. And they'll leave a guy there to hang out to dry. It would not. I wouldn't put this past that they ain't starting some of this rumor mill from their depth. But I think we just need this guy to do his role. And listen, they're going to need to be 3-1 techs. But I think what we're going to get surprised by, and I hadn't said too much about this, but I think Solomon Thomas and Osa are really going to be dominant in this run game. And they're going to be hell to deal with. I know people think doubling, but let me tell you something. If you double, let me give you this here. This is how, let me tell you this. We always talk about how other players help other players. Who's our most dominant player? Y'all in the chat. Let me get y'all be interactive. Who's our most dominant defensive player? Put in the chat, who's our most dominant defensive player? It's an easy question. Who's our most dominant defensive player, the one that everybody got to be concerned about when they come to play the Cowboys? Our most dominant defensive player, by all means, without a doubt, is Michael Parsons. That's our most dominant player. How can Michael Parsons help the 1 tech and the 3 tech dominate? I know people say, well, they run that zone scheme, they're gonna double the two defensive tackles. So one of them, they're gonna double team Osa, they're gonna double. Let me tell you something. If you double team backside on Osa, as well you double team on Mazi or other Tualo, whoever they bring in here, you're dedicating one-on-one blocking, sometimes with a tight end on our defensive ends. And if our defensive ends is about that life and about saying, hey, we're going to be DeMarcus Lawrence type run defenders. See, that's another thing we pass over. Our run defense wouldn't have been as bad last year if DeMarcus Lawrence wasn't hurt. I'm just be frank with you. Because there ain't probably no better defensive tackle, defensive end run block, defensive end in the league. And we ran him out of town. Know why? Because he wasn't getting enough sacks. He was getting pressures. He was making plays. But we cared about it. He ain't getting no sacks. He ain't getting double-digit sacks. But he led our team every year in tackles for loss. We had like tackles for loss, ain't no stat. When I judge a defensive player, I judge, okay, sacks, tackles for loss, tackles. When I judge a defensive player with pressure the quarterback, I don't give a damn about that stat about quarterback pressures. Because that stat, if you went over a game and you went over how they judge the pressure, you'll be like, wait a minute, what about this player? It's a pressure for this player, but this player right here, the backup, it ain't a pressure. It's arbitrary. These guys were doing the PFF stuff. These guys, they probably ain't never played no football. That's grading these films, grading these things. But when I look at it, I look at quarterback sacks, quarterback hits. That means they put their hand on the quarterback when he was releasing the ball within a step. Quarterback hits. And I look at forced fumbles. How many times you made that guy get the ball up? You strip the ball because that's your job. If those stats ain't big, then you give me that. Well, he got PFF say he got so many pressures. His pressure rate, man. Tell me how many times he touched the quarterback. Tell me how many times he sacked the quarterback. Tell me how many times he made him all turn that ball over. You can tell me if he's been dominant and how many tackles he got. Tell me how many tackles he got for a loss. Because in the run game, a tackle for a loss is just as bad as a sack. It don't get the claim, but any negative play that you can get a defense, it's a big play. Anytime you can get them going backwards and they lose a down, that's a big play. But we got people, they only think big plays is sacks and interceptions. Nobody talks about forced fumbles no more. If you ain't got no interception or you ain't got no sack, you ain't doing that. Know why? Because we done got ourselves into a PlayStation John Madden mode, and that's what those are the big things on John Madden. So that's what we could equate in real football. Those are things that only count in real football. And then when people do stuff that's in real football and not in that we don't see in John Madden, then we lose to those guys, and then we wonder why. Because in real football, people gonna get hurt. In John Madden, you push a thing, nobody ever get hurt. Y'all play. A lot of y'all don't play with the injury on it. Because if y'all get an injury, y'all will be like, oh, man, my best player out. What I'm going to do? Most of y'all play in legendary status where you got Deion Sanders and Jerry Rice on both teams. And y'all think that's real. So how can Michael Parsons help the defensive tackles? Michael Parsons, Sam Williams, Dante Fowler Jr., number 94 from last year, Nealon, which is a hell of a player. They can say, hey, if you dedicate 4 guys to block those 2 guys in the middle, we're going to eat you alive on these edges, and we're going to set the edge and crash it down. Because tight ends don't come in here and block grown people. If you got some bad defensive ends that play great run defense, every time they say a tight end coach, remember, you ever heard the phrase when people say mouse in the house? That's what they say every time a tight end, running back, try to block a defensive end. Mouse in the house. And I've always asked defensive ends, if you're a dog, if you're a guy that's supposed to be a defensive end in this league and you're a Michael Parsons status, you go in that huddle and when you walk up to the line of scrimmage, if you Dante Fowler Jr. status that been in this league that long, if you Nealon status, or if you Sam Williams status, when you walk up to the line of scrimmage, you tell over there, you look over to the sideline of the offense, and you tell the offense this, if you want some dog mentality on this team. You look over to the offensive sideline, and you tell them, say, if y'all ever try to block me with a tight end or a running back, I'm going to cancel your Christmas today. You better dedicate a big guy to block me every play, or I'm going to win every rep and make you regret it. I bet you they don't block Myles Garrett with no tight end. I bet you don't even try to block T.J. Watt with no tight end. Because if you're going to dedicate 4 guys to those guys, you're going to have to leave a guy on backside on cutoff block. Sometimes the tight end. What? And if you get to the point where those defensive ends are so dominant in the run game, guess what? Your defensive tackles, your 1 tech and your 3 tech, going to have a field day. And say this. Let's say you just double team the 1 tech. And you say, well, we're not going to double team Osa the 3 tech. This is when your 3 tech says, hit us here. If you double team the 1 tech and I'm Osa, I'm getting paid $19 million. And I know you got that in you, Osa. You say that you tell the offensive line, if you dedicate 2 people to drive out 1 tech out there, I'm going to dominate this offside guard to the point where you're going to forget about double teaming him. If it's a 1-on-1 block, I'm going to win that. That's when I say run defenses say they take care of each other. Dog run defenses say, hey, listen, man. The linebacker say, hey, just hold the double team up a little while. He still might get crushed with the double team, but just hold up because I'm going to diagnose it. And by the time they try to come off, I'm already gone. Do y'all hear that documentary Wade Lewis used to tell these guys? He say rabbit, and he say stay. He tell them, I want y'all to be rabbit, or he had another word saying rabbit, and fox. What he was telling the guys, when he done diagnose him as a run play, he say fox, he say rabbit. That means if it's a run, he say fox. if he throws a run play, he say Fox. That means he wants his lineman to kind of anchor down and don't just go running up the field. And if he says rabbit, he knows the pass. He said, hey, get out to the quarterback. Then he comes in the huddle and he tells his defensive tackles, I know they double team you. Just hold it for one more second, and then I'm gone. I see it and I'm gone. Because he diagnosed that he coming downhill. He ain't waiting. I seen everybody do film this week. And I'm not patting myself on the back, but I diagnosed the run defense in the first quarter. Do y'all remember the first quarter of the Ravens game? Do y'all remember when they got their safety against us? Because we got backed up 3 plays in a row, then we got sacked. When we tried to run the ball to outside, they had defensive backs diving at our running back in the backfield 3 yards behind the ball. They had a safety on our line of scrimmage coming to make the tackle. What that told me was those guys are back there in the back end. They say, hey, line, do what y'all gonna do. But when we see it, we are flying. We are attacking. Then I watched our defense, and we waiting, and we waiting. And then all of a sudden we changed our linebackers. And then we started attacking the line of scrimmage, and we started looking better. So I guess they went on the sideline, and somebody told them, Eagles probably told them, what y'all asking the defensive line to do if y'all standing there waiting? Again, let me give y'all some lessons about run game. Diagnose, attack. Okay, let's say it again. Diagnose, attack. A defensive lineman got to be able to read the key from the pressure, then attack away from where they're trying to take you. A defensive lineman must stay square to the line of scrimmage at all times. If he turns his shoulder and his back and he becomes perpendicular at any time, that means his shoulder is turned and he's perpendicular to the line of scrimmage, he is beat. And if he's perpendicular, that means he's giving up 2 gaps, not just 1. What you ask your linebackers to do, read your keys. Lineman fire off, double team here. You'll know, go against the double team. You know the ball's going away from the double team. Backside linebacker see it, you're all attacking. What you mean, what you say, well, coach, what you mean about your safeties? Why would you say earlier this year that our safeties are so important in this run game? They might be more important than the linebackers and the defensive line. Yes. I ain't never seen a great run defense without not great safeties. Sure, hard-hitting safeties that, yes, that they're back off the ball. They're going to be on the roof. But when they see it, they ain't waiting. They're getting to their level. They're not standing back there 15, 20 yards on the ball, sitting there drinking and saying, okay, guys, y'all get them. Okay, guys, y'all get them. Okay, guys, y'all get them. They're getting into the mix. I ain't never seen a long run that when a guy go 50, 60 yards, then everybody not to blame. What happened to the backside? What happened to the safeties? What happened to the backside corner to get back over there and run it down? He already got an ankle. How did he get past that guy? I've seen people do film. Let's do a film on the whole run defense. Because I'm telling you, if we built these excuses in about one tech, bring anybody you want off the street. If everybody's not dedicated to stop it, it's going to look bad in our worst time. And guess what y'all do then? Guess what we're going to be doing then? Well, then we're going to find somebody else to be the scapegoat. They probably going to bring a one tech in here. But listen here, it's a numbers game now. They're not getting rid of Tua Turner. That'd be crazy. That young man going to get better every week. It killed me. And I said this one day. I said, when we looked at his first game, the guy at UCLA, we were just dogging him. I said, man, if we dogged all of us in our first football game, I would probably never played, never got through college, got to college, play college football, never got to be able to start on my college football team, never went nowhere. And everybody who out there on this listen to live stream, if they did us like that for our first football game, none of us would have been around. But we judged this guy on his first game, and guess what? He got better in his second game. And guess what? He's going to probably get better in his third game. All these guys are going to get better. And guess what? We're going to get better as a football team every week. Are we going to start out wide open? Probably not. That video is coming up shortly about Thursday. Because we setting ourselves up to Debbie down our own team for the year. I'm looking for 6, man. I ain't looking for no short term. Man, I'm looking for long-term substance. I ain't looking for these short-term gratification, movie shots, spice moments, type stuff. That's what Jerry don't want you. That's the Hollywood thing. That's why I tell people, y'all need to watch that 30 for 30. If you became a fan in the last 30 years, what are you a fan of? You've been built off, your fandom has been built off of this Hollywood soap opera. And you really ain't gonna learn the whole thing because there's gonna be some Hollywood stuff in that 30 for 30. I mean, not 30 for 30, but that Netflix thing. But you're going to see that there was some substance behind all this madness. And if you go back to the 70s, the exact same stuff, that team was built the exact same way, and it went through the exact same stuff. They were rock stars then. Hollywood Henderson, Harvey Martin, they was cocaine heads. They were partying. They was having women galore back in the 70s. Ain't nothing changed. See, what we think is, the more people say things that change, the more things stay the same. It ain't no different what era you're in. It's the same stuff. Ain't nothing new under the sun. But Mazi, getting back to what about the one take, how the 3 takes can make, yes. Parsons and our defensive ends can make these 3 take jobs a whole lot easier, these 1 take jobs a whole lot easier if they're dominant. If our safeties, our strong safety, and our safeties are dominant in the run game, it's hard to block the safeties in the strong safety and the safeties in the run game. Know who you dedicating to block the safeties in the run game? On most plays, you right up when you do a blocking pattern. Know who you blocking. Know who you blocking the safeties with. Wide receivers and maybe tight ends, and that's in open field. That's after they coming off another block. So if they're really ready to make tackles, they're gonna be running free. But they got to be dogs. All right. Got one other thing I want to show since I want you to share thing, and I'm gonna get on off here because I see my guys done went on live, and I know a lot of y'all probably going to see Henny and Boss Cowboy. But going back to this right here, man. We started off, Coach Marv started his show off and started his whole thing. If you go back into my playlist, you're going to start off about the building blocks of the new culture in / identity in Dallas. And we're starting to try to see, we're seeing that their practices have been more physical than any other time. Don't get caught up in about we ain't run the ball in these preseason games like y'all want to run. But they're getting physical work in practice, and that's been no doubt. Everybody has said that it's been a different, and it takes some time, and it's going to be the discipline. We're going to see about the discipline. There's some players that I think I'm going to look at very specially, and I'm going to say Sam Williams. Sam Williams is on, when we talk about Mazi, Sam Williams is the one that's on the verge of this team not being here. Y'all got to get that 4.4 speed out your mind. If you're not disciplined enough to be a defensive end and do the discipline things, defensive end is not where you're going to be. And I think he has a discipline problem with playing defensive end. And he's trying to chase big splash plays. Splash plays is not how you be great as defensive end. Splash plays come, but you got to make the right play all the time. Mental toughness, we're going to see how we are, and that's going to come into, and I'm going to talk more about that when I talk about the thirst and about what we should expect from this first game after we get finished this preseason game, and where we should expect how we should approach this game. Coaching / leadership, we seeing that Henny reported about Pickens and a lot of players trying to hang out with players, and when Schottenheimer is really trying to push, he's trying to coach his coaches. He's trying to learn his coaches, and he's trying to teach his team how to practice. And that's going to take some time. He came in, when he got to Frisco, they went live 2 days out this week because he wanted to let them know the training camp ain't over since we done left Oxnard. He's trying to teach them how to practice and how to prepare. And then the talent part. So this is the 5 building blocks that I said about the culture, and we see these things being built every day. Rome was not built over a day, and a culture and / identity is not built over a day. You're going to have to build it. It's going to have to get believable. You're going to have to stick to it, and the other teams are not going to believe it until they see at least 5 or 6 weeks in a row. They're not going to believe it if they see it against Philadelphia. The next team is not going to believe it. They got to see it at least 5 to 6 games before they believe it. And you got to be able to stick to it to when you stop talking about it, it's already there. So right now, we're still in the talking stages. That means it's not already there. So we got to get to the point where we know that the culture that we have is already in place. So, like I said, man, I appreciate all y'all in. Again, if you got in your heart, man, like I said, man, I got a couple more things. I got to get a better camera on this thing. Got to get a little bit better lighting. But we're working. I'm loving the little upgrade I just did to this computer because I'm able to share stuff. It's not blanking in. I don't think y'all getting a lot of glitches in my transition. My website is holding at 99%. The whole show is not going down. It's not fluctuating. I love that. So probably on tomorrow, I'll be able to, if I can get the stuff hooked up with rescreen, that I will be doing the watch party as like the rest of the content creators. They'll be on live and I'll be on my screen. And I would love for you. I know y'all may tune in on another show with Boss Cowboy, but hey, man, this is going to be the same screen. You see in the same show. Come on over and give me some watch hours. Come on over and watch it on my channel. put my channel to give me some likes and watch the whole live stream on my channel and give me some of that watch hour. So, because I'm very close to get to my first monetization task. That's right now I'm at 450 subscribers. I need 50 more subscribers. So if y'all know some other people out there, please like and share this stuff out there. And if you hadn't subscribed, please get subscribed. If you hadn't watched my videos, I'm going to attach this video to my playlist. If you hadn't watched my playlist, go onto my channel, Coach Marv Real Talk. Go to my playlist. Scroll through those topics, man, and say, hey, man, I want to hear. Now, you got some topics in there where I may have some videos. I might have been on there for like 15 minutes. It got cut off because of the problems I had. But I try to get back on the next part too and start it. But listen, go in there. Go ahead and pick out the one I talked about, this culture. Go in there and pick out the one I talked about, what's going to be expected from Michael Parsons. Go in there and view what I did in my last show when I talked about history, about this thing that we watching on Netflix. Again, I'm going to say it again. That Netflix thing shows us exactly what Coach Marv been saying about the star in the front office. The star represent in the front office, in our front office, is two representations that Jerry didn't want the star to represent. One is a positive thing for the viewership of the Cowboys. That's one acronym for the star. The other one is who they are as a front office group. Now, the first one I always said, the Joneses want the star to mean seen, talked about relentlessly. The S is seen, the T is talk, the A is about, and the R is relentlessly. They want this team to be seen, talked about relentlessly. Nobody came up with that. That's Coach Marv 2 years ago. That was the star. He said the star board. And then I said, when I kept reviewing the Cowboys front office, I said the front office himself, when they start acting tripping, the front office stands, when the stands for the front office, that star you got, I see you in the back right there, the star. The acronym for the star then is stubborn, tumultuous, arrogant reactions. That's Jerry and Steven. They're stubborn. They say some of the most tumultuous things. Look these words up, man. They're arrogant. And that's how they react to everything. Stubborn, tumultuous, arrogant reactions. That's what the front office is. And I talked about this, and I said history. Y'all should watch the video, watch the thing for video. Go back and watch that my video. But when I said y'all need to watch the Netflix thing, because history can either be a great teacher or it can hide problems that repeat themselves over and over and over again. It can either teach you or it can hide problems that you keep repeating over and over and over again. And Jerry said it many times, and his wife said it on the show. Well, Jerry said what she said. And when your wife says something about you, it's definitely there. She said, you can't handle when things are going good. You got to mess it up. That's true, Jerry. And you need to put that bottle down, because that bottle sometimes make you mess it up. So, again, like, comment, and subscribe. I ran through this the first time to give this a run through, man. I'm liking the memory that I added on here. Tripled it, quadrupled the memory I got on here now. I'm able to share screens. That makes me feel good that I'm able to show y'all some screens and able to show y'all stuff. So I will be doing a lot more of sharing stuff that I put out there like a chalkboard and put it out there so y'all can see it. Maybe y'all can write it down. I can share the screen and then I'll make it do a short and put it on there. But again, go out and watch these other guys. I think Henny and Boss Cowboy, they're on. I don't know if a Big Time show has been on. Hopefully I can get with Big Time and me and him get a show. Big Time show. If anybody's sharing this that's been on Big Time show, no Coach Marv, Man, y'all put the heat on big time to get big time to say, man, y'all need to do a show. You and Coach Marv need to do a show. Amp Sports, all these guys, man, watch us tomorrow. The watch party for the last preseason game. We're building for 6. Patience, people. Football is patience. We're not worried about how fast we start. It's about if we dare standing at the end. That's what you want to do. Gladiators want to stand at the end when the arena is full, and we want to be the last people standing. Again, those who sweat more in peace, bleed less in war. Till next time, peace. Salute.